population of only 42,000, Denmark's tiny principality survives mainly on its income from fishing. But when it comes to football, the Faroes are a small fish in a big sea. It was in 1990 that they first made an impact on the international scene, and their bobble-hatted goalkeeper hit the headlines. It was their first ever Euro qualifier, and they were playing comparative giants Austria. Jens Martin Knudsen made a dream debut in goal, and the Faroes went on to stun the world. Knudsen's hat became a symbol of hope for every David facing up to his Goliath. The Faroes Football Association was formed in 1979 and now boasts 26 clubs and up to 6,000 playing members. For the association president, the memory of the game against Austria remains as sweet now as it ever was.
That was great, but it was a bit of a surprise. It wasn't something we had thought would happen. But since then, you could say that it's been a bit difficult to live up to. Nevertheless, it was a great experience for the Faroes because it put us on the world map.
They may be on the world map, but they're still hard to spot. And their next challenge in the European qualifiers is awesome. They face the might of Russia. That's a population of 148 million people against 42,000. In the first match, Russia won 3-0. The capital city of Tórshavn is one of the smallest in the world, with only 17,000 people under the town's colourful roofs. The country's natural resources are utilised to the full in the most unexpected of places, with the abundance of grass providing an insulator from the icy winters. It rains for an average of 280 days every year in the Faroes, so grass grows thickly over the island's hilly slopes. But until recently, they had to play every international football match abroad as they lacked even one grass pitch. The constant wet weather and regular matches made surfaces unplayable. Instead, 22 AstroTurf pitches service the biggest sport on the island, but an hour's drive from the capital, on a hilltop in Toftir, is the nation's national stadium, the first to boast a grass pitch. There, a collection of fishermen, truck drivers and postmen are preparing to take on Russia. For goalkeeper Knudsen, it's a long way from the glory days of beating Austria. The hat has now disappeared, but he still loves to tell the story of it.
Yeah, I think I got to tell
When I was about 14 years old, I had a head injury, and the doctor told me a fortnight after that I had to play with a helmet on. But you can't really play football wearing a helmet, so to please him, I just put a hat on.
Not far from Toftir National Stadium is the home where Knudsen grew up. It was in this house that Mrs. Knudsen made the bobble hat that made history, and which her young son continued to wear long into his 20s.
It was when he was about 12 years old. He had a small injury, and he thought it would help to have a hat on. So he asked me whether I'd knit him one, and that's what I did. He believes in it, that's what I think. But I don't know why he stopped using it. I really don't know why. I've asked him, and he hasn't told me why.
The question as to why Knudsen no longer wears the famous hat has caused much debate. At the First Division Club HB, there's a man who thinks he knows the answer. As usual in the Faroes, he's multi-skilled, both under-16 coach and groundsman at the club. But it was in his role as referee that he witnessed a strange incident.
The ball comes in, and Jens Martin puts up his hands for the ball like this. But he loses both the ball and his hat. I looked at him, but he was more interested in getting the hat back on his head than holding on to the ball. And the danger wasn't over because another player came in and put the ball into the back of the net. He's always been very fond of that hat, and still is.
Maybe the real reason for Knudsen giving up his hat is the increasing seriousness with which the Faroes are approaching their game. Last year, ex-Danish international and European Footballer of the Year Alan Simonsen was employed as coach and has gone about restructuring the national squad.
Since I took over the team, we've changed a lot of the players. We're looking for more consistency than we previously had. It's to do with a certain style we want to adopt here. Our development has been fantastic. In the last year and a half, we've played a lot of positive football, and that's what we're going to do in the future. Of course, you need a lot of time to do this, but we're well on the way.
The main problem with Faroese football is the lack of full-time professionals. Toddy Jonsson is the only player to have escaped amateur status, gaining a contract with Danish First Division side Lyngby. The money just doesn't exist to support a professional league in these tiny islands. Back in the 80s, the Faroes were a rich nation with a booming economy. Loans secured the construction of a complex road, tunnel and bridge system. They've hit the hard times now, and the loans need to be paid back. Fishing's the largest contributor to the coffers, but fish stocks are now dwindling. And so, for a country also known as the land of the sheep, there's a lot to think about as it faces the future. The managers of the Toftir National Stadium have established an unusual way to finance the high cost of maintaining the complex. Within the clubhouse walls, it's opened up a bed and breakfast, which caters for up to 30 people in a sleeping bag hall. Or, more comfortably, in one of the 11 double rooms at the front of the stadium. For real luxury and the ultimate football bedroom, the penthouse suite can be hired with views of the pitch and all the local conveniences within easy reach. Out on the pitch itself, the Russians had arrived and were testing the swirling winds that whip across the biggest fjord in the Faroe Islands. The team was at near full strength with Kyriakov, a rejuvenated Kanchelskis, and Amari Tedradze, the only member of the national squad from Spartak Vladikavkaz, who are running away with the Russian League Championship this year. For the Faroes, the sight of top-of-the-table Russia must have been intimidating from their position, second from the bottom. And so, to match day. As the Faroes entered the second half, they were drawing 1-1 with their powerful opponents, a dream about to become even more fantastic. The optimists in the crowd were ecstatic for the moment, but there was plenty of time left. Final score 5-2, but the Faroes had become the first team to score twice against Russia in the qualifiers. Even so, for the man without the bobble hat, it was disappointing.
I feel bad. We gave him a goal to make it 3-2 and then losing the match like that. I'm not very pleased. Basically, the stronger team always punishes the weaker one, and it was a long time for us to hang on. Half an hour is a long time. People look very conservatively at a goalkeeper, and if I want to go abroad, I feel I have to give up the hat. I don't want people to say at the end of my career that it was the hat that made me successful.